Bukovich can't get him. Finally caught from behind and driven out of bounds. There is a flag on the field. Williams chased him down from behind after a 54-yard return, but there is a marker on the opposite sideline. Dexter Carter trying to put a spark in the Jets, and the penalty against Miami, so that one will stand.
Now that is what they expected out of Dexter Carter when they brought him here from San Francisco. He's a return specialist, a very exciting guy when he holds on to the football, but you can see the speed, good blocking. And
offside on the kicking team, number 53. Penalty is declined. First down.
And maybe, just maybe, Rich Kotite has finally found a nerve in that New York Jet locker room. You've got to believe he went in there and ripped and shredded a little bit on these guys because they come out with a little emotion, a big play right off the bat. But this offense has to capitalize. They have not been able to do it in the past 3 or 4 games.
Big return by Carter. If Mike Williams had not caught him from behind, the speedy wide receiver of the Dolphins, it was going to be a score. So spot the ball in Dolphin territory at the Miami 36. First down for the Jets. Brister, first down pass. Caught to the 25-yard line by Charles Wilson. J.B. Brown, the tackle. Wilson, the only receiver to have caught a pass for the Jets today.
And Charles Wilson had 3 touchdown passes in the first 3 weeks and none since, just working one-on-one. And the Dolphins, not really a big man-to-man coverage team, but in talking with some of the players and coaches, they just have so little respect for the outside speed and the outside receivers, they think they can get away with the man-to-man coverage against this team.
Wilson, 4 receptions, 43 yards. First down, New York. Play action. Brister again will put it up on first down. Baxter catches this one, and he's to the 17-yard line, stopped by Brian Cox. Gain of about 8 yards. And the Jets starting the second half with a little flair after the big return by Carter.
And the Miami Dolphins starting very flat. And while we're ripping and shredding a little bit ourselves, let's put in a plug for the Dolphins, who have lost 2 in a row. Here's the team that's supposed to be the dominant team in the AFC. And for Don Shula, his team just has not looked the same over the past couple of weeks.
Morrell tried to reverse his field, got only to the 15. Hit by Troy Vincent. Close to a first down, though. They'll spot it enough for the New York first.
Finally, a little bit working now for Rich Kotite. Even the crowd borderline starting to cheer for the Jets, which has definitely been...
they were a little undecided earlier.
They definitely couldn't decide which way they were going to go in this one.
Brister looking over the Miami defense. Morrell bounced off one man, gets only a couple of yards, stacked up by Brian Cox and Marco Coleman.
And Brian Cox has talked about this defense and all the expectations, and they're supposed to be in the Super Bowl, and he said, we just have to get back to having fun again. He said, we've all been walking around and carrying this burden and all the pressure that's supposed to be on this team. He says it's time to just play defense, go hit somebody again. But they have not been sharp. I mean, this just, the Dolphins, the first 4 weeks of the season, they just look like what everybody expected from them. But the last 2 weeks and then here today against the Jets, this hasn't been the same team.
2 tight end formation. Brister for the end zone. Corbett, touchdown.
There it is, the 11th touchdown pass against this Miami Dolphins defense in the last 4 games. J.B. Brown beaten again there.
And for Corbett, the 4th touchdown reception of his rookie season. Lowry for the extra point. Nick is perfect in 11 prior attempts. And this one, too, is good. look like a new Jets team. They score on their opening possession of the second half to draw within 2. Tap the Rockies. Dexter Carter had the big kickoff return over 50 yards, number 35, and then Wayne Corbett with his first reception of the game goes for the touchdown as the Jets take 5 plays to go 36 yards and pull within 2 points. O.J. McDuffie takes the kickoff, and he nearly broke it. He's ridden down at the 27-yard line. Tackle made by Ronald Moore after a 23-yard return.
Excuse me, Tom. Back to the touchdown. Wayne Corbett working man-to-man coverage against J.B. Brown, just a little flatten up, and Bubby, nice job getting that thing in over the top, and there was plenty of motion all the way around. Rich Kotite excited to see his team score just their 3rd touchdown in the last 4.5 games, and for Bubby Brister, he's trying to get this crowd back on his side.
Bernie Parmalee on first down for the Dolphins, crosses the 30-yard line, then is slapped down by Mo Lewis and Victor Green.
Very important drive in the ball game now, really on both sides. The Miami Dolphins haven't been able to get anything going offensively, really even threaten the end zone. And for the Jets, if they can get off the field now that the offense has a little momentum, if you could go 3 and out here and go back and sit on the bench, who knows what might happen with this Jet offense.
So the pressure shifts to Bernie Kosar. The Dolphins held to only 3 field goals in the first half despite dominating time of possession. Parmalee trapped in the backfield. Penetration by Matt Brock to make the stop, and then Marvin Washington for the kill.
Hey, who are these guys that came out in the second half? Now Marvin Washington and Matt Brock, who came over from the Green Bay Packers this year, teaming up on a play in the backfield. And sometimes if the other side of the ball starts to make plays, all of a sudden your side gets a little emotional lift. Now the crowd's in it. Now it's like a football game.
And it's 3rd and 10 for the Dolphins, 4 wide receivers on. Miami has converted 3 of 7 third downs today. Pressure. Kosar got away. But the pass is picked off. Intercepted by Mo Lewis off the hand of Terry Kirby. The 2nd interception of the season for Lewis. And the other one went for a touchdown. This one big, deep in Miami territory.
And the best thing that happened was that Marvin Washington missed Bernie Kosar. It allowed Bernie to scramble out, and then Mo Lewis with a sensational one-handed interception.
Ooh.
And my goodness, has the momentum of this game changed in a hurry.
Interesting that the breaks have turned around completely. Like you said, fortunate that Kosar got away.
What an athletic play there by Mo Lewis to come up with that one.
Mo Lewis with an acrobatic interception.
Of course, had the touchdown a week ago on the interception.
On the reverse, Corbett gets only a couple of yards. Troy Vincent smelled out that gadget play. And there's Mo Lewis as his young son, Morris the 4th, I believe it is, who was born just a few weeks ago. It's Morris Clyde Lewis the 4th, Little Mo they call him. Actually, Mo, until college, was called Little Morris, but the defensive line coach at Georgia couldn't say Morris with a chaw in his mouth, so it was just Mo.
And he says, boy, does it feel good to get home and see my son after all the problems that we've had at the office lately. Nice to just go home and get away from it all.
Brisker chased and sacked. Tim Bowen's the man that made the Miami sack, his 2nd of the season.
Sometimes Bubby's scrambling ability helps, and sometimes it hurts. He was trying to move around in the pocket and just ran right into Tim Bowens. And when you talk to the defensive players on the Miami Dolphins, they say without question the guy with the most talent up there is Tim Bowens. And some people have questioned Tim Bowens and his work ethic, but his coach Mean Joe Green says that, I'm telling you, in practice, I think he just doesn't want to show up his teammates. When he gets out there on the field, he is now considered one of the top tackles in the game.
A pressure from Brian Cox. He knocked the ball loose. Brister picked it up on the hop and gets back to the line of scrimmage. Brian Cox made that play.
And now Brian Cox starting to get a little emotional out there. Brian Cox, when they get in the nickel pass rush, he is a designated rusher and really just way too quick for James Brown on that play. Came with the inside move, and for the Jets offensively, after the big turnover by Mo Lewis, they managed to just lose 6 yards.
And now on 4th down, Nick Lowry is on to attempt a field goal. It will be about 49 yards. He hit a 50-yarder earlier this season, the 21st 50-yarder of his career. On its way. Good. Nick Lowry has given the Jets their first lead of the game. Officially 50 yards on the field goal. Rich Kotite and the Jets bounce on top. The NFL on NBC. They're in for a little surprise here in the second half. Lowry's kickoff will sail into the end zone. Silvestri's kickoff, excuse me. Silvestri buries it deep in the end zone, and McDuffie on the touchback.
And Nick Lowry with one of those balls that looked like it was going to start left, and you start thinking, oh no, it's going to hook out of there, and ended up being a screwball going back the other way. And for Nick Lowry to give this Jets team a lead, he is a weapon, and he has not fallen off whatsoever in his career. Look at the reaction. Look at the guys.
Yeah, they haven't had much to smile about. And for Lowry, 22 field goals in his career, 50 yards or more.
And now, how good are the Miami Dolphins after losing 2 in a row and now down to the Jets?
Short completion, Parmalee surrounded by Jets and taken down. They gain about 4. Houston and Jones first to arrive on the scene.
And Tom, I think it's a legitimate question about the Dolphins. In the ball games that they've played, the only team that they've played with a winning record was the Indianapolis Colts, and they lost to the Colts in overtime. And of course, Dan Marino on the sideline certainly has a lot to do with it. He is the most valuable player on this football team. But Bernie Kosar, the highest paid backup in the league, and he's supposed to be able to get this one done.
Remember last week he passed for 353 yards, but they lost to the Saints, who had been winless prior to that. Parmalee, late flag down. Tackle made by Marvin Jones. Boy, Jones' return has made a big difference for the Jets defense. Not only his play, but enabling Lewis to move to his preferred outside spot.
There's no infraction on the play. No infraction on the play.
Could have fooled me. Soft flag, they just pick it up. Don Shula has to be maybe having some second thoughts about his team too. In fact, you asked him that yesterday, if his confidence in this team were shaken by the 2 losses and a near loss at Cincinnati before that. He said they just needed to get back to execution and aggressive football. 3rd and 4. Kirby has first down yardage, it would appear, just across the 30-yard line. Knocked out by Aaron Glenn.
And Aaron Glenn had a chance to make this play and stop it short of the first down. He just did not come up with it. He's got Kirby right in his sights coming out here and just missed the tackle. That was a chance for the Jets defensively to get off the field. If Glenn had made that stop, it would have been Jet football.
Instead, it's a Miami first down with 6.5 minutes left in the 3rd quarter, and the Jets suddenly up 10-9. Play action, Kosar. Short across the middle to Parmalee again, a completion they had used often today. Gets about 5 yards. Mo Lewis, the tackle.
And right now, the Miami Dolphins falling into the same trap that the Jets have offensively. They are going shorter with this passing game. Eventually, they've got to send Irving Fryer streaking down the field, or at least try and stretch the defense. But now when you're down 10-9, you're a little bit less inclined to take some of those risks and throw it down the field, and you want to stay conservative.
Parmalee can't turn the corner. Bobby Houston grabs him by the pads and slings him down.
And there's the emotion that we haven't seen out of the Jets, and part of it has to do with the fact that the fans haven't really been behind them, but this is a football team and this is a defensive team that has some talent over there. There are really no excuses for them not to play well, and they're going to have to carry the Jets while they try and get their offensive problems worked out.
Look at the disparity between the first and second halves.
Big opportunity now for the Jets, 3rd and medium.
Did the Jets change uniforms with the Cowboys at halftime or what? Kosar, plenty of protection, and a pass to McDuffie. It'll be close to the first down. Victor Green and Carl Greenwood wrapped McDuffie up very close. And close enough they'll measure.
And Tom, they gave the Jets a pretty good spot there. It looked like he had rolled forward a bit, but they moved the ball back, and that is very close. Boy, would this be a tough call for Don Shula. Down 10-9 in this game. If you come up an inch or so short on this one.
Well, that looks like what the situation will be. About 6 inches short.
And I think you have to punt the football.
And that is what Don Shula says as John Kidd trots onto the field.
Wow. Has this thing turned around in a hurry?
Well, you had all your weapons ready to open up all guns blazing on the Jets, didn't you?
Well, yeah, I mean, it was embarrassing. You sit there and you watch the game and you try and be a little enthusiastic and have some fun, but it was boring. And now all of a sudden Rich Kotite, somehow, some way, I don't know what he said to his troops at halftime, but it started right off the bat with that kick return by Dexter Carter.
Momentary stoppage here. I don't know what the mix-up might be. New life for Bubby Brister.
Please reset the clock to 4:50, please. 4:50.
That's a difference of 4 seconds. They'll put it at 4:50.
Tom, I know there's a lot of time left in this ball game, but this would be a monumental upset and a severe blow to the Miami Dolphins and their hopes. Don Shula, we talked about it a little bit last night. He knows the importance of home field advantage, but the way the Dolphins are playing right now, you have to think more about playoffs than home field advantage.
Kidd's punt. Dexter Carter says get away from it, and it will go out of bounds. Not a good punt. They'll spot it at the 25-yard line. Only a 35-yard punt. On NBC, we reported the league will review the incident in the Monday night game when Dave Wyman leveled Jeff Hostetler with that vicious forearm. And although many players and coaches would like to see the return of instant replay, the league is unlikely to reinstate it, according to Will McDonald's poll of team officials. And the NFL will review the Cowboys salary cap in the wake of Deion Sanders signing and the structure of his contract. The Cowboys may well be over the NFL salary cap. Those are the headlines for the NFL on NBC. Another headline is Dan Marino watches in frustration as the Dolphins have lost the lead to the Jets of all people. Brister pumping and setting up the screen. Oh, nearly picked off. Baxter was the intended receiver. Behind him, off his hands, and Dwight Hollier, number 50, nearly had a gift.
Bubby. Oh, there are 2 guys out there. Dolphins had 2 guys on either side of Brad Baxter, and apparently the play just wasn't exactly what they had set up, but he flipped around, he saw them. They're lucky.
That was hard. The blockers looked like they were on the other side. I don't know. That was a ill-conceived play from the outset. Morrell, nowhere to go. Stopped at the line of scrimmage. It'll be 3rd and 10. Tim Bowens from Ole Miss makes the tackle. And guess who's in the middle of that one? Oh, Brian Cox, maybe. Matt O'Dwyer squaring off with Brian.
I like the story that Brian Cox was telling us yesterday. Of course, he's just been nominated, just been named the Dolphins Man of the Year, all his community work, and he goes into the schools every single Tuesday on his off day. He visits 2 different schools, and we asked him why, and of course he said he wanted to be with the kids and all the other stuff, but he said, I had 4 straight games where I had 15-yard personal foul penalties against me, and at my daughter's school, all the kids kept coming up to her and saying, is your dad crazy? What's the matter with your dad? And he said, I've got to go back in. I've got to show him I'm just a normal guy.
3rd and 10. Bristol. That one nearly picked off. Somehow it finds Johnny Mitchell, who fumbles the ball. Picked up by Gene Atkins of the Dolphins. Jets turnover by Mitchell gives it to Miami. First catch by a Jet tight end today is disastrous as Mitchell fumbles the football, and Brister and company have turned it over to the Dolphins. To wear the goat horns is Johnny Mitchell, who fumbled Bubby Brister's pass.
And Bubby going up to him on the sideline, but this one really kills the Jets. They had so much momentum. A big play here, going to move out around the midfield stripe, and Michael Stewart comes up and strips the football from behind. But boy, for the Jets, that really takes a lot of wind out of your sails, and Johnny Mitchell has missed 4 games this season, and injuries really have been the story of his career. Big play for the Dolphins.
Parmalee on the sweep. Got a couple of blocks and made a good gain out of it. Taken out of bounds at the 27-yard line by Todd Scott.
And you can just see this Jet defense that was so emotional in the last couple of series and playing so well. Now just a little bit flat and deflated. Once again, their offense has let them down, and they come out and let the Dolphins rip off a big play. But now's the time in the ball game. They're still right there. It's 10-9, and defensively, you just have to suck it up and make some plays.
Backup center Burt Widener pulling and leading the blocking on that sweep by Parmalee. They try the other side. And Parmalee breaking free. Bernie Parmalee fighting his way through the end zone, made it to the 2-yard line. Scott and Glenn finally changed his momentum. Poor tackling by the Jets. It's a 25-yard run by Parmalee. And Mitchell's fumble set it up.
And Bernie Parmalee, who led this team in rushing a year ago, now getting the chance once again because of the fumbles last week by Terry Kirby and taking full advantage of it. They were excited about Parmalee at the beginning of the season, but he had trouble fumbling the football. It's certainly making up for it here this afternoon.
He's over 100 yards, 20 carries, 104 yards for Parmalee. Here's Kirby diving for the touchdown.
Wow, what a turn of events in this ball game. The Jets comfortably in front, doing things that they wanted. Terry Kirby up over the top as you sort of have the competition now between those 2 guys in the backfield. But amazing how quickly this football game has turned first in favor of the Jets, now back in favor of the Dolphins.
Stoyanovich for the point after.
Thought they might go for 2 here.
Instead, they'll let Stoyanovich kick it, and he connects. So the Dolphins take advantage of the Mitchell fumble for Kirby's touchdown. It's 16
that down. Carolina used it for motivation, and Johnny Mitchell said after the game, I'm not talking to the media anymore. You guys twist everything I say.
Mitchell, of course, had his differences with Boomer Esiason last season, and then they decided to become roommates to get better understanding of each other and each other's approach to the game. Ironed out their differences.
But Tom, if you're going to be man enough to say something and make a statement like that, then back it up and take it upon yourself to be responsible for it.
Carter from the 7. Again trying to get the long return and has a good start on it. Carter shoved out of bounds after another good return by Lewis Oliver, 31 yards. We'll hope you'll join us. We'll go over to Long Island, not too far from here, for the Breeders' Cup. Breeders' Cup 12 coming your way next Saturday at 11:30 a.m. Cigar trying for the first undefeated season by a major thoroughbred since Spectacular Bid. And if he wins his 12th straight, the Breeders' Cup Classic, he will go into the annals of the all-time racing greats. But he'll have a challenge. Peaks and valleys coming off a win at the Meadowlands Cup here. The 3-year-old has never been worse than third in his career, and Hauling from Europe has won 8 in a row, so Cigar will not have an easy time. But the Breeders' Cup, 11:30 a.m. next Saturday. Adrian Morel on the pass from Brister, using his blocking effectively, crosses midfield to the 47 of the Dolphins, where he's bumped out by Troy Vincent.
Yeah, I like Adrian Morel. I think he's a competitor. He gets his hands on the football and he makes something a little bit more out of it than what you would expect. After making this catch here, gets away from Cox, makes another guy miss. He's just a tough guy. Grew up in Hawaii and in Italy. His father in the military. Once had 350 yards rushing in a game in Hawaii, and obviously they weren't quite up to his talents, but he played against Ciapelli Malamala, his teammate and tackle on this Jet team.
First down, New York in Miami territory. Brister's pass behind Baxter and off his pads, incomplete. Baxter was open in the flat. Michael Stewart was racing to recover, but it could have been a nice gain for the Jets, but the pass off target.
And you just don't know how much of a factor that thumb is for Bubby Brister. Still swollen, still sore, and the accuracy on occasion today just not there. That's a ball that if you get that out in front of Baxter, he has a chance to do something with it, maybe set up a second down and short.
And as we talked a couple of days ago, Bubby Brister throws the ball with his index finger right on the point, which puts even more pressure on that swollen right thumb. Morel dancing, breaks to the outside. Adrian Morel lowers his head and pounds close to the first down, carrying J.B. Brown with him. Spirited run by Morel.
And the other thing that Adrian Morel does is that he keeps teams out of man-to-man coverage against the Jets, because there really aren't many linebackers in this league that can match up in one-on-one coverage against him. So he impacts both phases of your game. Obviously, you see the talent running the football, but also as a pass receiver and dictating to the defense exactly what they can play against the Jets.
3rd and 1. The Jets are 0 for 6 on third down conversions. Final 30 seconds of the third quarter. Quick handoff to Brad Baxter, and he has the first down to the 35 of Miami.
Brad Baxter, just an absolute stud blocking. He is the lead back on most occasions, but for Brad Baxter, he makes his living, especially in some of those blitz pickups. I've seen him throughout the course of the season. Those linebackers come in and blitz or a corner blitz, and he just drills those guys.
Jets threatening as we come to the end of the third quarter. It's Miami 16, New York 10. Back after these messages from your local station. For the Jets this season, only a field goal to show in 7 games. They've been outscored 54-3 in the fourth quarter. Jets, though, have a first down to begin this fourth quarter at the Miami 35. Morel breaking back toward the middle to the 25-yard line. Used the block of James Brown effectively. Tim Bowens finally makes the tackle.
Good call there, Tom. James Brown on the right-hand side, just staying with this guy. First gets Jeff Cross out of the way and then comes back in and makes another hit on the linebacker, Chris Singleton. So every once in a while, the running back makes plays, but there are times when James Brown should get credited in the stats.
Third year from Virginia State. And sets up a 2nd and 1. And Baxter has the New York first down. 27-yard line of Miami. Tim Bowens another tackle.
And right now the Jets doing it on the ground, and that has not been their strong suit. They rank 29th in the National Football League in running the football, but for Rich Kotite, this is the sort of power game that I think he always envisioned when he came here and made the decision to draft Kyle Brady and go with some bigger guys in the backfield. He just wants to eventually get to the point with this Jet team where they can run the football and play some power football.
This is the team that does not have a rushing touchdown all season. That's right. No rushing touchdowns in 7 games. Brister Corbett had it knocked away. Good defense. Gene Atkins, the free safety.
And Gene Atkins giving Wayne Corbett a shot at the end of that play, and that was pretty close to a penalty. Corbett coming on the crossing route. Just beautifully timed out that time by Gene Atkins to come in there and strip the football. And a little scuffle ensued afterwards. Gene Atkins, one of those tough guys. Even his daughter won't talk to him on game day. Says he puts on that ugly face, and I don't want him to get anywhere close to him.
He's the former Rattler in his 9th season from Florida A&M. 2nd and 10. Brister has Corbett wide open, and Wayne Corbett to the 5-yard line. 1st and goal, New York. That time he beat Atkins for 17 yards.
They're going to tack a little bit on at the end of that play as well. Face mask penalty going against the Dolphins, and Corbett doing a nice job just finding the hole in the zone.
Incidental face mask, number 28 of the defense. Half the distance from the end of the run. 1st down.
High fives and headbutts all around.
Yeah, but they still got to punch it into the end zone. And remember, no rushing touchdowns all season. They've got it 1st and goal at the Miami 3, trailing by 6. Baxter and Morrell split backs behind Brister, 2 tight ends. Fake it. Brister. Touchdown, Mitchell. Redemption for Johnny Mitchell, whose fumble set up Miami's go-ahead touchdown. He comes right back for this score. That is his 1st touchdown of the season.
And what a brilliant play by Bubby Brister. That had to be at least his 4th look on that play. He hung in there to the last possible moment and then found Mitchell for the touchdown.
Nick Lowry to give New York the lead. And he got it.
Go back to the decision. The Dolphins not going for the 2-point conversion. Now trail by 1.
13:05 left in the game. Mitchell's touchdown and the Lowry extra point has given the Jets the lead. The NFL on NBC. With producer John McGinnis, director Bucky Gunst, Tom Hammond, Chris Collinsworth, Giant Stadium. Bubby Brister cradles that football after tossing the touchdown pass, the first 4th quarter touchdown by the Jets since November 20th last season. McDuffie hit, dropped short of the 20-yard line. 16-yard return.
Fred Baxter right there is going to draw the coverage into the back of the end zone, and Johnny Mitchell just sneaks underneath, and nobody even saw him crossing through. Bubby Brister, though, was the one that really made the play. He's going to start looking to the back, coming out of the backfield to the right, back across, takes a shot, and couldn't even watch. Was afraid to even look up.
Yes.
And finally, he got a chance to look up, and it was good.
He even goes in reverse. I didn't know Bubby was capable of such good. So now Kosar will try to answer for the Dolphins. Here's a screen set up to Parmalee. Penetration on the screen and a wonderful defensive play by Marvin Jones.
And the emotion, so rare in this stadium. And Marvin Jones, you see the great speed, of course, coming out of Florida State. And they were so excited on draft day when they got him, but they just haven't been able to keep him in the lineup. But here's why he was drafted that high. Just able to run down a screen pass from behind the blockers. Not many linebackers around can get that one done. Boomer and Gunner enjoying this one.
And it's 2nd and 12, Miami. Kosar's pass complete to Byers. Bumped out of bounds about the 26-yard line by Victor Green.
And Tom, how devastating would this loss be for the Miami Dolphins? Their third loss in a row if they can't make a comeback in this one. And for Don Shula, the dreams of winning that next Super Bowl and all the excitement, all the pressure on Don Shula and the Miami Dolphins put on by the local fans. And now they're up here getting beat by the Jets.
Marino or not, this is a game Miami cannot lose. They're 4th and 10 on third down conversions, 4 of 10. Kosar scrambling, still in trouble. Pitches it. Caught by Chris Gray, one of the linemen, and that will work.
It's going to be an illegal forward pass. Obviously, you can't throw one to your offensive lineman. And it's also going to constitute a loss of down.
The Dolphins will have to punt. Kosar in trouble, just threw it to the first white jersey he could see. Unfortunately, it was a lineman, not an eligible receiver.
And Bernie just trying to create something now. It just wasn't there, and not even Bernie can get away with that.
Illegal forward pass, loss of down, 4th down.
My, how things have changed here in the second half.
This is amazing.
You know that Miami was in trouble when they had only 9 points after dominating the first half of play. Nearly blocked. There's a penalty marker down as Dexter Carter takes it at the 35. Reverses his field and cuts up. Carter to the sideline. And out of bounds at the Miami 46. Nice return, but we'll check the marker.
Boy, this is a big penalty flag. It is 4th down and less than 4. If this happened to be against the Jets, it would be a first down.
No against Miami. Illegal man downfield. Dexter Carter. This is a 20-yard return, and he has put a life into the Jets here in the second half.
He got away with the fumble in the first half that he recovered himself. And now
An
2 big returns.
On the kicking team, number 24. Penalty is declined. First down.
Pat Johnson was illegally downfield, so this nice return by Dexter Carter will stand. Jets football when we return. More than a scare from the New York Jets here today, with New York leading 17-16 in the 4th quarter.
And there's Mike Westhoff, the special teams coach, and this is 2 weeks in a row. His troops have not got it done. Last week against the Saints, big punt, a muff punt, a roughing the kicker penalty really hurt the Dolphins, and now Dexter Carter's 2 big returns.
Adrian Morrell gets 3.
You know, Tom, the interesting thing after the ball game last week against the Saints, one of their players, their linebacker, Ernest Dixon, said after that game that I don't know if the Dolphins came ready to play or not. And I think that may well apply to this game as well. You come in here against a Jets team that you watch them on film and they just have not been impressive at all.
You know, Jeff Cross was telling us yesterday he thought the loss to the Colts affected them against the Saints, and perhaps the 2 losses again made them flat, not up to par today. Cox comes with a blitz, they pick him up, and Brister delivers a strike. 35-yard line to Charles Wilson with J.B. Brown wrapped all over him. That should be enough for a first down.
And right now the Jets having good success working against the Dolphins zone defense. Brian Cox coming right up the middle, but he was picked up beautifully on the play by Cal Dixon. Boy, Cal Dixon with a magnificent block inside on Brian Cox. And it looked like Cox was going to get right through there, but hung with Brian, and that allowed Bubby to pick up the first down. Dixon, who's been having some back spasm problems, went to a chiropractor, been trying to do anything he could, but well, that was a terrific play there.
You saw the dramatic turnaround in yardage first and second half both ways. Baxter fumbled the football. It might have bounced right back to him, but Miami says they have it. Let's see. And the Jets have recovered. I think it bounced right back up to Baxter off the turf.
Well, you could hear the collective gasp in the crowd when this one hit the ground. Just one hand on the football, and just before it got down on the ground, and luckily Baxter in the right place to get that one back. The Jets now in field goal range. They're within range for a 50-yard field goal from Nick Lowry,
who already has hit a 50-yarder today. That's the score coming to the 9-minute mark. Brister has a man open, and he threw the ball low. Mitchell went downstairs but couldn't get there. And Brister missed him that time.
Tough play, tough catch for Johnny Mitchell, but those are the kind of catches that if you make them can win football games for your team. Probably a little snappy with this throw and too cautious. Really, there was nobody out there for Johnny Mitchell, but that's a play that you can definitely make.
Now it's 3rd and 10. Pressure on Brister. He just heaved it away to avoid the rush as he was taken down by Jeff Cross.
Jeff Cross there with good pressure, and Jeff Cross bearing a bit of a cross. His mother died a couple of weeks ago and been flying back and forth to the West Coast. She had a long battle with cancer, so he's struggling on two ends.
Instead of trying a 51-yard field goal, they send Brian Hansen out for the punt.
Oh, really? Why is that? The wind not really blowing very hard in any direction.
And now Lauer's already hit one from 50. It would be 51 here. Instead, Hansen will try to pooch punt it, and it bounces right in the end zone. That is a very questionable call, and the fans don't like it a bit. The NFL on NBC. And the net difference is only 14 yards. They had they missed a field goal, would given the ball to Miami back up field. As it is, it comes to the 20 on the touchback of the punt.
That was ridiculous. That was ridiculous. You've got a great weapon in Nick Lowry, and I'm sure he didn't want to give up the ball on the 40-yard line, but you've got to have a little faith in your guy. He's at least 50% from this.
Yeah, so a 21-yard difference perhaps net between where the punt wound up and what it would have been if they had missed the field goal. Completion to Williams, the tight end, collapsed by Marshall and Jones. First catch by Ronnie Williams today, replacing the injured Eric Green. So a questionable call on not going for the field goal by the New York Jets, and Miami still down only one. A field goal would put them ahead with less than 8.5 minutes to play. Parmalee driven back by the Jets defense. Only needed a yard or so for the first down, and his forward progress will net him that yardage. Mo Lewis drove him back, but Parmalee had first down yardage on forward progress.
And certainly this Jet defense has been playing better in the second half, but the idea that you're going to leave them back out there for 8 minutes to protect a 1-point lead, yeah, boy, you'd sure like to take the chance on having to force the Miami team to get into the end zone to beat you.
Kosar dodges one rusher and then wings it downfield over the head of his intended receiver, Mike Williams, with Aaron Glenn defending. He had a chance at an interception.
Not only was that a duck thrown by Bernie Kosar, that was an ugly duck. That thing came out and was spinning end over. It looked like a kickoff going down the field.
A Daffy Duck.
Boy, oh boy. Quack, quack, quack.
Glenn still had a chance.
He can't catch him.
Even the opposition can't catch him.
Boy, Aaron Glenn. Let's get that. Stick him out.
Kosar lost it. And fallen on by Richmond Webb. Hugh Douglas, the man again. Hugh, the cry from the faithful. They'll rule it an incomplete pass. His arm was coming forward.
And not only Hugh Douglas winning the battle, but winning it against Richmond Webb. You're looking at maybe the best left tackle in football, and Hugh Douglas now is becoming a force in the National Football League. Richmond Webb telling us last night that Bruce Smith was the best defensive end that he plays against, but he may want to reassess after watching Hugh Douglas today.
3rd and 10. Kosar at the last minute flips it, and it's caught by McDuffie, I believe, right close to the first down. We'll see where they spot the football. And it is close enough they will measure. The first down specialist, O.J. McDuffie. Every time he touches the ball, it's a first down, it seems.
Clean catch. And the question now becomes, where did that ball come down? Danny Marino is going to help those officials best that he can. That was a good clutch play there by Bernie Kosar. He looked like he had nothing working and threw it in the only spot that McDuffie could catch it. Even if this one's short, you've got to believe the Dolphins go for it here.
And the McDuffie magic works once again. First down, Miami.
You don't suppose they'd second guess Rich Kotite in New York about not kicking that field goal? Some of the local papers and talk shows here.
It's already set in type. O.J. McDuffie, look at that. 78% of his touches result in first downs. 7 minutes even. Miami with the ball down 1, first down, Dolphin 42. Kosar is going to scramble with it. And out of bounds at the 45-44 of the Jets. First down, Miami on the run. Yes, run by Kosar, 14 yards.
And Hugh Douglas once again giving Richmond Webb problems on the outside, coming back underneath and forcing Bernie Kosar out. And was this a move I saw? Wait a minute, look at that. And Aaron Glenn said, wait a minute, it's like Big Bird running at me or something. He didn't know exactly what to do with him. Look at it from Aaron Glenn's perspective. That'd blow me away too. Look at that. The old Sayers light.
I don't think we can expect to see him in the Olympic trials next year. Parmalee. Slammed down at the 40 by Eric Howard.
Marvin Jones almost got there on the linebacker blitz. If that play had been run this way, there would have been one major collision. Just happened to guess right. Nice job there by Chris Gray, who saw it coming and just peeled back around in time to give his back room to run.
Kosar hit as he let it go. The Jets have it if it's ruled a fumble. Let's see.
I think it was.
It
Good
is.
call.
Hugh Douglas, the man that wrapped up Kosar again. Marvin Washington popped it loose, and the Jets recover.
Marvin Washington coming all the way around. You can see Ron Heller really gimping, that knee giving him problems, and he just couldn't get back. And Hugh Douglas, no way in the world you're going to wrestle that football away from him. Watch the limping, though, by Ron Heller. That knee is just not right. He doesn't practice. He just shows up on game day, and that time it cost the Miami Dolphins.
Big Hugh Douglas has become a force, and Kosar loses the ball. Man, Douglas, an unexpected star for the New York Jets. Brister, first down pass, got his man. Corbett, New York first down to the Miami 40.
And now let's go back to the decision by Rich Kotite. It's only fair. He made the decision not to kick the field goal, to rely on his defense, and it paid off. And now all of a sudden offensively, this is as good as the Jets have looked throwing the ball in a while. But why Troy Vincent is playing that far off of Wayne Corbett, I have no idea. I mean, they haven't thrown anything deep. Troy Vincent can probably run backwards as fast as Wayne Quebec can run forward, and he's given him about a 10-yard cushion.
Too big of a cushion enabled Quebec to just pull up for the easy first down reception. Ball at the Miami 40. New York leads by 1. Morrell ran away from Cross and got out of bounds. Stops the clock at 4:46. Chris Singleton chased him out, and so did Michael Stewart.
And now you have to start thinking about time management. The Dolphins have to find a way to get off the field. They're sending Brian Cox on the blitz, and once again there you saw the nice pickup on the play by Brad Baxter. He does it time after time and gives this offense an opportunity to make plays.
So Rich Kotite passing the long field goal attempt, turning it over to his defense. And they get him the ball back. 2nd and 7 now at the 37 of Miami. Brister wings it, and a bad pass intercepted by Troy Vincent. Vincent, who had the interception and touchdown return in game 1 against the Jets. Face mask on Quebec, who made the tackle of Vincent, will add to the return yardage. Bad pass, bad decision by Brister.
Absolutely nowhere to throw that football. Troy Vincent was in the hip pocket of Wayne Quebec. They try the out and up, the same one they scored on the touchdown. Maybe a case for an illegal contact down the field.
Personal foul, face mask on number 80 after the interception. 15 yards, first down.
And for Bubby Brister, just a terrible decision. He'd been playing well, making the right reads. The ball should have never been thrown. You've got the football inside the Dolphins' 40-yard line, time running down. Just a terrible decision for Bubby.
Once again, the Jets threatening to self-destruct, giving Miami new life. 4:39 to play. First down, Miami, their own 35, trailing 17-16. Kozar's pass complete. Clark. Gain of 11 and a first down. Marvin Jones wrestles him to the turf.
And Tom, one thing to point out here, Pete Stoyanovich has not had a lot of success in game-winning field goal situations as of late. The playoff game last year against San Diego, the Colt game this year, a chance to win it. Didn't get it done either time there, so they certainly want to make this drive gain as many yards as possible to make it as easy as possible for Pete Stoyanovich.
Parmalee on the sweep, midfield and beyond, twisted down by Marvin Washington. Don't forget, coming up tonight, game 2 of the World Series. Pre-game show starting at 7 o'clock. First pitch at 7:27 p.m. Eastern Time. Atlanta, of course, with the 1-run win last night. Martinez against Glavine. Game 2 of the World Series. Pre-game show starting at 7 Eastern here on NBC.
I'd like to have those two guys as your second starters. Not too bad.
Pretty impressive. I think it's going to be a great series. Bernie Kosar, a big Cleveland fan and Indian season ticket holder for 15 years. In fact, Terry Kirby's brother is a member of the Cleveland Indians. Parmalee on the swing pass. Chased out of bounds by Victor Green. Bernie Kosar has hit 25 of 36 today for 160 yards.
Boy, big sequence now coming for the Miami Dolphins. 3 minutes and 16 seconds. Definitely 4-down territory for the Miami Dolphins, and Boomer trying to get the crowd into it, and they are more emotional today.
For a change, something to cheer about for their team. 3rd and 2. Pass complete. First down, Miami. Irving Fryer to the 35 of the Jets. Vance Joseph knocks him down there, but a big clutch reception by Fryer.
And this is a nice throw in there by Bernie Kosar. Plenty of zip on that ball, working against Vance Joseph, the guy that was really picked apart by the Raiders a couple of weeks ago. He's improved his game, but they are now very close to field goal position for Stoyanovich.
42-44 on the counting. Pitch to Parmalee. Jumped over one man, then grabbed by Mo Lewis, and out of bounds at the 32-yard line.
And Burt Widener getting out in front, and Mo Lewis not happy about something, but I thought that was a great run that time by Parmalee. The play was a little slow developing, and he had the presence of mind to hesitate just in time for Burt Widener to get out in front of him, and that's really what made the play.
Parmalee now 119 yards rushing today on 24 carries.
And that was some crackback block as well by Irving Fryer on Mo Lewis.
Intercepted. Vance Joseph, the rookie.
Unbelievable. Excuse me, Ty. Mike Williams is going to slip on the play, and it's going to go right in the lap of Vance Joseph. The slip down and the gift. Here's a guy that was humiliated, torn apart by the Raiders, tried to play man-to-man coverage against Tim Brown and some of those great receivers. The only guy after that game that even called him was his mother and said, "Son, I thought you played pretty well out there." And now Vance Joseph, the hero, and Bernie Kosar taking a shot at the end of that one from Marvin Jones.
And remember how in the first half that every time the Jets did something good, a bad break came their way, and they just couldn't get a break? Well, here in the second half, the breaks have gone all their way. Brad Baxter with a carry to the Miami 35-yard line as we approach the 2-minute warning. Miami takes a timeout, which will stop the clock at the 2:17 mark.
This is amazing for the Miami Dolphins to come in here and to possibly lose to this New York Jet team. What a disaster.
Well, it's been a surprising game, and of course, more great football action coming your way. Second game of the doubleheader right at the conclusion of this one. Most of you will see Kansas City and Denver. Others will see Indianapolis and Oakland. Kansas City, Denver, Indianapolis, Oakland. Check your local listings. Second half of the doubleheader coming up next. The NFL here on NBC.
Remember Rich Kotite telling us, so we asked him about this game and did his team have a chance. He said, "Hey, this is not the Christians and the Lions." And I remember thinking, yeah, the Christians had a lot better chance than you guys had coming in here. But I don't know what he said to those guys at halftime, but they came out ready to play some football. And of course, Dan Marino not a part of it, and Bernie Kosar really can't really blame him for what happened. Mike Williams just slipped down on the play.
Baxter. Tough 3 yards. Tackle made by Hollier and Brown as we come to the 2-minute warning. Jets looking to salt away the upset with 2 minutes left. With the rally cap as he looks to the defense to make a big stop here, and headaches all around on the Miami sideline as the Dolphins in danger of losing their 3rd straight game. Dolphins trying to stop New York. They converted only 1 of 8 third downs. Brister fumbles the ball and will be sacked back at the 42-yard line by Marco Coleman.
How can it happen time after time after time to these Jets? I mean, all they got to do is pick up a yard and the ball game's over, and they're going to fumble the snap. You know, for Rich Kotite, he's a former sparring partner for Muhammad Ali, and if he thought Ali used to give him headaches, it's nothing compared to this team. Right in position, 1 yard, and the ball game's over.
Yeah. Now they have to punt. The loss takes them back out of field goal range.
Boomer's head was feeling better until that one.
Bubby fumbles the snap. The Jets give the Dolphins new life.
And the other thing that did, Tom, was it took him out of range for any potential field goal, although we probably know that he wouldn't have tried it. But they were down on the 31-yard line, would have been about a 48-yard field goal. So once again, the Dolphins to get another chance, and they've had more chances today than probably what they deserve. What a strange game for Don Shula. They have to win this game. You look at their schedule coming up. Buffalo next, at San Diego, New England, San Francisco, at Indianapolis.
Miami has taken a timeout. To punt for the Jets. Wobbly snap, got the kick away, but that is going to sail right into the end zone for the touchback. So the Dolphins will get it at the 20-yard line. So the Jets had it 3rd and 1 yard to win the game, and Brister fumbles the exchange from center, which not only enables them not to pick up the first down, but out of field goal range too.
I mean, you take snaps 100 times a day in practice, and in the one key moment, they're lucky to get that ball back. And let's make this point too, for Brian Hansen, that's 2 straight bad punts. He's had 2 chances to pin the Dolphins back in their own zone and twice put it into the end zone.
Well, it appears at times that neither team wants to win the game. The Dolphins get one last chance with 1:49 showing. They have 1 timeout. Kozar got away from trouble, got it to Kirby, got a block. Kirby cutting back, he's to the 40-yard line. Miami first down. Aaron Glenn got him to the turf. Good scramble to get free by Kosar. 19-yard gain.
Really have to go back to 2 decisions. The one not to go for the 2-point conversion, and Rich's decision not to go for the field goal.
Incomplete, intended for McDuffie.
Trying to work that underneath zone, and now the Jets not really feeling comfortable because of all the injuries in their secondary, playing man-to-man coverage. They're just dropping back in the zones, and this is where you really miss a guy like Eric Green, somebody that could go down and split the defense and put a little pressure, and just a big body to throw in there against that zone defense.
2nd and 10, ball at the Dolphin 40. Jets lead by 1:18 to play. Kozar had his arm hit, and it's intercepted again. Victor Green picked this one off. Hugh Douglas again put the pressure on Kozar, and Green gets the interception. Neither team wants to win.
Well, there's no doubt in my mind who the most valuable player of this game has been. Hugh Green, working against the All-Pro Richmond Webb, has been there consistently all day long.
Well, you said Hugh Green. It's Hugh Douglas. He's playing like Hugh Green.
That's right. Thank you. Hugh Douglas just comes back underneath, and Bernie unable to make the follow-through. And for the Dolphins, a disastrous loss. That is a big, strong guy in there. Hugh Douglas just fighting and fighting against Richmond Webb, and finally coming through and making the play. The one thing about Bernie Kosar, though, remember Richmond telling us yesterday, he holds the ball longer than does Dan Marino. We know we have to protect it longer than we did with Dan.
Brister takes a knee and fires the ball to the referee.
Who would have believed this one?
And the Dolphins spend their last timeout, stopping the clock at 1:06.
For the Jets, their defense has done it again, though. Last week they played very well against Carolina. And for a team that really had struggled with the 3 interceptions, so big today.
And the last 2, not really his fault. Douglas hit him as he released that last one. Mike Williams, the receiver, slipped on the one before that. But I think the point you made, and the point that Richmond Webb made to us yesterday about Kosar not having the quick release of a Marino, of course no one does that, but holding the ball a count longer has really been disastrous for Miami on the interceptions. Boy, Don Shula has seen his team off to the fast start, and then lose 3 in a row to the most improbable teams. In retrospect, Indianapolis doesn't look so bad, but they lost to then winless New Orleans and losing to the Jets, a team they had defeated handily in game 1, only the second victory of the season for New York. Well, we understand the snow is falling in Denver, and most of you will be going there at the conclusion of this game for the Broncos and the Chiefs. Some of you will see the rejuvenated Colts against the Raiders in game 2 of our doubleheader. There's the lineup again. Kansas City, Denver in the snow in the Mile High City, or the Colts and Raiders.
How do you figure, though, from the 24-3 halftime lead against the Colts, they blow that game, the Dolphins do, and then come back and lose to the Saints, lose to the Jets? The best team supposedly in the AFC, the team with all this talent. Unbelievable.
And the talk of the Super Bowl is very quiet at the moment for Shula and the Dolphins. Sweet for Rich Kotite, but a bitter pill for the Miami Dolphins.
And for Rich Kotite, all that conversation about Jimmy Johnson coming here, and he told us that, that was a rumor that just followed me down the Jersey Turnpike from Philadelphia. They first started that up there, but sweet victory for Rich today.
After a dismal first half, the New York Jets rally to upset the Miami